Yeah, just go look at the short. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. If anybody here is actually wondering what I'm talking about. Okay, so our canoe. First of all, you get all these ports. I know that sounds weird because they're just rocks, but these are like places to park your canoe. It kind of indicates to me I gotta stop. This rock here. See this rock here? You see these rocks? There's another one right behind me, I think, too. Yeah, okay, there it is. See, it's between those two guys right there. So that rock I'm on, pretty much the same rock as that one there. The reason I noticed is because it's got this like little cave thing on it. Not a cave, but like a little den or a dimple. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Where'd he go? There he is. And then that guy's got the same one. And it's not just placement. What they are is they're actually, for the longest time, I thought they were caves. And I was following a trail of cave rocks. Basically, you're birthed because you keep coming out through all these holes. And then that's when you first start noticing those rocks. And what they represent are vaginas. And you're being birthed out of them when you see them. I'm either being born right and reborn in teaching because I'm teaching you guys all this stuff, or the people watching it that actually understand and can follow it. That's representation of you being born right now. Because if you can follow me on this turkey ride here, guys, this is a big one. I had to refilm it because when I was editing, it wasn't even that bad. The sound was okay, but I couldn't leave this out when I noticed it. So just this part's the turkey. The whole thing is like a cooked turkey when you put them together, and that's what I saw originally. But this part right here that John's standing on, just this part, this would be the turkey's head. John's standing on his body, and this would be like the wing or the back of it. You get a good look, and then I'm gonna actually pull out my cigarette card, and it won't be perfect, but it'll give you a better idea. So just that part right there, right? Think of like a hand turkey, right? Like a kid would make with their hand for Thanksgiving. Essentially, what that is. Be like his middle finger right there. It's his thumb making the head. But then when you put that shape on top of the other shape, you got the one that I originally saw, which is a cooked turkey. And this part is just kind of the wing or the leg. But yeah, that's another example of a turkey. So it's a double bird in a way, right? Because if you have the live turkey here, and then if you put it all together, you get a cooked turkey. In a way, you got two birds again. So let's see if I can remember how to get to my cigarette card from here. Okay. So, turkey. Cigarette cards are clues because of the spider. Somebody lined that up. I've never done it. I just trusted that they're telling the truth, and they lined it up, and that's how we got to the center of the spider. So it makes sense that if we got stuck again, because the center of the spider thing would have been pretty complicated. I don't know how anybody would have figured that out. So we're stuck. We go to our cigarette cards, and I find a turkey, and I realize I'm standing on a turkey. So let's look at that again. Top part here that John's on, just this part here. It's like, and when you zoom out and add it to the other part here, what I got is a cooked turkey. So there's actually two turkeys with here in a weird way. Right? So again, two birds, and it's made of rocks. We were brought here from Window Rock, and a cowboy made of rocks. Now we're a cowboy, and we're standing on a bird made of rocks, brought to us by two birds on a rock. This is the game. This is what you do. You connect the clues, and you advance forward. It's a hell of a lot of fun. Actually, let's go back up here. All right, so we're on our turkey. Get to our highest point. So that's what we've learned from everything here. Go to where you're supposed to be. Get to your highest point, and it should point you in a new direction. So does this guy point me in a new direction? I don't know. I never really bothered to look here. Pointing that way. This guy's pointing. Where is he pointing? Well, I didn't even know this at the time. Like I said, I connected him to the rivers and this guy down here. But when I came back, I noticed he's pointing. I said, you know what? He's pointing here. Probably take that. Somebody else could take that. They could find another path, lead them to God, lead them to GTA. But let's just, out of curiosity here, let's check where he's pointing. Huh. Look at that. He's pointing to Siska Penitentiary. What does Siska mean? Anybody? Yes? No? Okay. Siska means bird. Means bird. So we're standing on a bird, brought here by birds, on a rock. We're now standing on a bird made of rock, and it's pointing us to another bird, which is a penitentiary on an island. Trees on islands in Alcatraz. It's called The Rock. Right? There's a movie, The Rock, Sean Connery, Nicolas Cage, The Rock. So again, more wordplay, movie associations. That's going to be big later. I'm just making that one now, to be honest here, because to me it was just the bird play. But now I'm realizing too, it's an island and it's a prison, and that is known as the Rock. Rock bird, and it's pointing us right to it. So maybe go there and get a clue if you don't believe what I'm doing after this. Maybe somebody else, if you believe me up to this point, there. find a path maybe. See, I just connected shit again. Go rock, birds, standing on 2 birds made of rock. It's pointing me to a bird. This guy, known as a rock, it's all connected again. By the way, this guy points you up here. Eventually, we're going to end up here, and you'll see that this guy is also shaped like Siska Island and the rocks I'm standing on. That's the other thing too, guys. Sorry I didn't mention that. This is the shape that I'm currently standing on in the middle of the 2 rivers. Not only is this pointing to Siska Island, if you were to take this part of the island right here and just move it over a little bit, I think I'm standing on it. There's a mission in the game called Geology for Beginners. Okay, there's no geology for professionals. There's no advanced geology. There's geology for beginners. You got to figure the rest out yourselves. This rock formation matching that formation, which matches another formation in the north. That dark rock there that I say is the vagina rock and matches this other vagina rock. We now find ourselves between the 2 signs that are vagina rocks, and we find another sign. Right? We're between them again. And maybe one's an asshole and one's a vagina, and now we're the taint. And they're different too. Like you see, I don't know, guys, go on a hike. These rocks here, these dark ones, the east side of the map. These light ones are from the west side of the map. But here they converge. We're in the middle of them. Again, in the middle. Middles, centers. Turkey, made of rocks, brought to us here by a cowboy, made of rock, points, a prison, aka the rock, on an island. What else did I miss here? Because there's more connections here. Connects everything. Okay, just in case it wasn't clear, you know, my whole thing here, the only reason I even made a video is because I noticed that the river was the 2 birds. We are now between the 2 birds. That is the river, which was connected by our guitar, much like our telephone poles were connected with a cable, ones that brought us here. This is now connected with a river. Flowing current. That's what the telephone poles are and the wires. They're a flowing current. So is this river. That helps you guys. Flowing currents connect us. We took our leap. So I'm saying we got to connect a bunch of things, take a leap, took our leap, and now we've directly connected our guitar to the river, to the flowing current, the rock, cowboy rock, brings us to the middle here, and we're going to head downriver. Where do we go? This is where I was stuck. So I didn't know any of the stuff I just told you guys. That's all stuff I've realized after coming back and backtracking here. More signs that I can now see and understand pointing me to the same places. We're in the middle, realizing our clues are connecting, right? That our wires connections, our tallies were connected, then our wires, etc. And then I got the guitar to the river, 2 birds, so I knew that was connection. So I figured we're still connecting things. I thought at this point too we'd be just connecting things forever. I didn't see the leaps. Thought everything was kind of connected, but it wasn't. We were taking leaps and then connecting things. So at this point, I thought I needed to connect whatever I have here to something down here, and I did. So I'm standing on a turkey. What I thought I found down here was another turkey, and it might still be. I don't see it anymore. What I do see now, though, is a goose, specifically a cooked goose. That's the saying. Your goose is cooked. Right? If you're doing this, if you were doing what I was doing and taking this leap and trying to connect all this shit, my goose was cooked. They gave me the double bird, so they flipped me the finger, threw me through a window, me on a wild goose slash wild turkey chase, which is now going to lead me down here to this part of the river, this sharp bend here called a goose neck, which coincidentally is right next to something that is shaped kind of like a goose. At least to me, it is a cloud. It's a cloud, but there can only be so many options. So make up a shape in your mind of what this cloud is. And if it's not a goose, good for you. I think a lot of people get goose or turkey. Maybe a turtle too. I could see a turtle, which might connect us later to some things. All right, but yeah, goose man. Goose man. Sounds like a new supervillain. But our turkey here looked vaguely this to me. I knew I needed to go to the center, or I didn't know, but I suspected that I might find my next clue right here. Because to me, that was center of this goose thing. In my mind, I needed to connect him to the river somehow. Again, not seeing any of the stuff I just told you guys about the penitentiary, how that one points to this one, which also matches the shape of this one. And then this one kind of points back over us to here. So there's a triangle right there of birds pointing to each other made of rocks. I didn't know any of that stuff. I just had some shapes. So I matched up my shapes and I headed downriver. That's where I found my next sign.